So 9K, we had an incredibly messy weekend with the macro situation, the Japanese stuff, the war stuff. They were just throwing it all at us. Now we can see we are bouncing currently at BTC. If you've just woken up, you can see we've got some green candles here. Can we trust this bounce? Is this a dead cat bounce? What is the plan? Today, I'm going to give you some key levels here. I'm going to tell you where you can potentially exit this bounce if you are sitting in positions. And I'm going to give you some potential target ideas here on BTC and some of these altcoins, just in case these guys are going to send us lower. We got a lot to talk about here. It's Black Monday. It's Messy Monday. We'll call it a Red Monday. Let's get right into this. Guys, and don't forget, Ray got liquidated. Ray, I'm sorry, bro. We were talking last night. Ray was long ETH and got messy. If you like the content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, because I got carried out on a stretcher as well. And I got absolutely hammered in that last little push that they gave us yesterday. I see Imam saying, what did he just wake up to? Well, Imam, you've just woken up to a pump, bro. And you've missed some of the pain. But look at Banter Bubbles here, absolutely destroyed. And this is after we've had quite a substantial bounce in the markets here. We got Lido negative 22, ETH minus 14. You're not going to believe something.
Lido looks good.
Bro, the market is so rough at the moment. Look at Matic, 11%. Is that thing still alive? I thought Matic was on 0. I didn't know it could go down any further. But overall, an absolute mess. If you were part of this, if you were trading this thing, you got carried on a stretcher. I got carried on a stretcher with you, and especially off some of those levels that we hit there. So Mia says, welcome to the liquidation fam, Ray. I think if you didn't get liquidated, are you even trading? And are you even a trader? So guys, let's get into this. Let's just get straight into BTC. Let's talk about what is going on here at the moment. And you can see we got a little bit of a bounce here. This could be a little squeeze in play. And Richard Clark's got an interesting comment here. He says the bottom isn't in until Iran says so. Okay, and that's not an unreasonable statement here that the man is making. So let's see what's going on. Now, we know Bitcoin was front running a lot of these markets. Remember, these markets were all closed this weekend. So the only ones they could pick on was the crypto market. And did they pick on us? We got absolutely smashed here. And right now we're dealing with, but they're taking out the late shorters. They're taking out the guys that were shorting on these big supports here in these zones, and maybe just getting a little bit too aggressive on those shorts. So you can see we've got a little bit of a bump now on BTC. But overall, on the 4 hour, you can see we are in a very bearish situation here. We are in a very big downtrend here on the 4 hour. And until we start breaking big trends and things like that, we need to just be super cautious here. So if you are scalping altcoins right now, I've got some levels coming up for quite a few alts, and it's going to be applicable to a lot of the altcoins that you are trading as well. These resistance zones are most likely going to tie in on a similar level here. So let's keep an eye on that as we go. So I'm going to update you on those things. But right now, BTC, I am in a scalp long at the moment for BTC. And a big level that I'm watching now to the upside for me is going to be this 57K number. That is my first line of a big line of interest here, 57K. And then a little bit to the downside, you can see we've got this horizontal that we've broken back into. This is a fairly substantial level. I'm going to show you on a different chart in a moment. But 52,800, that is some kind of short-term support that I'd like to see hold here if they are going to just continue this little move into this 57K. And then lower down, that 48,900, that has got to be our low marker now. We've got to watch this one closely, because remember, in crypto, sentiment changes super quickly in all the markets. In fact, it does. I'm going to show you the S&P now. You're not going to believe what is going on there, especially with Apple, for example. So the sentiment shifts really quickly, but the minute something turns a little bit negative, these type of things can start falling over very quickly. So let's not get too euphoric with where we are at the moment. But look, a good start, nice, big, thick green candle. Let's work with that. So upside 57K. What I'm watching here, 52,800. Watch that level. And then we're going to watch these lows, 48,900. That is all I'm interested in right now now on the 4-hour chart, and you can see here I'm trading on Prime XBT. I'm in a scalp BTC long here at the moment. It's just a 0.5, and the market was incredibly choppy and dangerous over the last couple of hours. So just playing this one pretty safe here. You can see my entry there is just on that trend break, just below that trend break level there, and I'm going to place my stop exactly here on Prime XBT. In fact, I'm going to just put it under that candle there at 50,600. So I'm going to leave it just like that. So on Prime XBT, you can just drag that stop up and down as you wish. Okay, let's get into the news. Let's see what is actually going on. So good morning to those of you that woke up to liquidations, to red candles and all those types of things. And we are back at 26. The fear and greed index is back at 26. This marked the low. The last time we had a bounce, we were at similar levels on the fear and greed index when we pinged the low 20s. Then we got a big little bounce there. And that so far is signaling a potential short-term little push up there for us. Now, liquidations in the last 24 hours. Now, I tweeted this earlier, so we might have had a few more now. I think a lot of these shorters now have just been rinsed out as well. So we've been done both ways here. And you can see 898 million. That's nearly $1 billion of longs got absolutely wrecked in the last 24 hours. Never mind what happened this weekend. And Checkmate is just dropping us a note here saying 33% wipeout of open interest over the last 7 days. Okay, derivative markets are completely and utterly purged, in his opinion. Okay, so things are looking a little bit better from the purge front. And if we look at the liquidation map on the 30-day, you can see they've actually rinsed out all these bulls. There's no more bulls left. Look at the current situation here. These shorts completely outweighing the longs on the 30-day liquidation map. And you can see right up to about $12 billion here on shorts can get rinsed out if we go up to 70,000 for BTC. But right now we are just playing short-term moves, and you can see we've absolutely rinsed out all the bulls. And if there are any left, okay, are there any bulls left? Put your hands up if you guys are still around. And Jonathan says, come on, let's go. Jonathan says, has the Fed emergency meeting been confirmed? Now, that was just a rumor as far as we understand. So there is no confirmation that I have heard of as of yet. So we'll have to wait and see. But another interesting one here for us, the volatility index. Okay, this is the VIX. This thing spiked to 65 today. Okay, this just gives you an indication of volatility in the markets. Okay, this is the highest reading since COVID. Okay, we last had drama like this in the COVID times. This is how serious this current move has been. Okay, so if you're looking at things just to get a perspective, if you were around in COVID times, you know how bad that was. And we are at a similar time here as to where we were with COVID levels. Now, what happened? What did the market do 1 year after the VIX spiked to these levels? Look at that. The S&P 54% up. The NASDAQ 68% up. Bitcoin 898% up. Treasuries minus 19, come on. And gold, Peter Schiff, come on, 1.5% up. Okay, so that is potentially a sign here in the market. And just taking a look at this VIX, you can see this thing absolutely spiked up. But now we've had a big bounce in the market. And you can see this VIX has started shifting a little bit lower. And that might also have had something to do with the ISM numbers that have just come out now, looking also a little bit more positive. So Japan's stock market, this is another thing going on, macro side of things. Okay, why is the VIX spiking? All of these major reasons as to what is going on. And just a reminder, Japan's stock market suffered its worst losses since 1987. So they actually, as it turns out, they actually beat that. They beat that dump. It was a Black Monday, and they really came and rinsed them out. And I'm looking at the Japan 225 on the daily here, and this is their index at the moment. And you can see we've had a vicious bounce. So there's probably a lot of late shorters and things like that, and they have now just been taken out. So we're going to watch this space very closely here, because if we see this thing start recovering, then maybe things are going to start normalizing a little bit all over the place. Okay, and maybe we can resume regular activity. So right now we're watching this Japanese index, but a major bounce after this dump. Let's just see the size of the recovery in the last couple of hours. This is now, maybe in the last 6 or 7 hours this has happened. So 10% recovery bounce so far. So looking okay at the moment, but that is a disgusting looking candle, I must say. If you were in the Japanese stock market there, that is a messy day for you. And just another note here, Goldman Sachs has now increased their prediction of a U.S. recession in the next 12 months. They've moved it up to 25%. Okay, and look what happened to the markets. They started absolutely shitting themselves. Okay, and now we've had a little bit of a recovery bounce, but the magnificent 7 stocks before the markets opened, they'd have raised nearly $1 trillion of market cap. Okay, that's major stuff going on. Then the ISM numbers come out, and this market is so desperate for something. Okay, the people are so desperate for a green candle or something. The ISM numbers come out, and suddenly the S&P starts pumping again. So take a look at this. Here's the S&P on the daily, and we've actually had an incredible last couple of weeks here. If you look at this, the way this thing is gapped down here with the situation, I mean, you can't be blamed for feeling a little bit stressed out at the current conditions. These are very abnormal conditions that we are trading in.
But did you die? But did you die?
Did you die? But did you die? Okay, you might have been liquidated, but did you die? And look at this thing. So the S&P's gapped down to our next big zone. They actually skipped the 5,226 that I was looking at. This was a lovely area for me. I was loving this region here. They've opened it, they gapped down below, and they've bounced us off a 786. Okay, just front ran that area, that 5-1. But you can see now, maybe the buyers are going to start getting exhausted here. So S&P traders, just be cautious up here. You can see this is a bit of a bounce now. It's a bit of a reactive bounce in the market, and we are pushing up into a resistance band. So S&P traders, be careful here. Maybe some kind of rejection in the zone. Remember, you can trade the S&P on Prime XBT. There is a link in the description. You just send crypto to that, and you can trade long and short on Prime XBT. So just grab that link in the description there on the show. But for me, S&P getting tired here, 5,226. Let's just be cautious at this region here. Let's see what type of rejection we get. And then just looking at a couple of US stocks. Now, if we are watching the current story unfold, we can see NVIDIA has lost. Okay, they lost their major trend. They've bounced on a major horizontal here, and now we're pushing up. But NVIDIA is actually looking a little bit bearish now. So we can see the S&P pushing into resistance, and we can see NVIDIA now with a nice bounce on open here in the market, but maybe a little rejection zone. So just, again, exercise a little bit of caution here. If you have bumped some of these stocks and you are sitting in profits, maybe you were scalping some of these guys, just look out here. This is a big resistance zone. This is a big trend here. We could get some kind of rejection here. So just pay a little bit of attention here with these types of bounces in these types of bearish conditions. And here is Apple as well. Just another great example for you guys. Look at the size of this recovery on Apple. We've gapped down into the zone here. We've had a huge bounce off a major horizontal. So that makes perfect sense here. 197, 198. And now we are rejecting at the 50-day moving average. So just look out. There's a couple of signs here that some of these stocks, maybe the S&P, they're going to just shed some of these gains now over the last couple of hours. Maybe just time for a little breather here on that. It is a very, it's an abnormally sort of large pump here, this thing here. Look at this, 8% on Apple. It's a serious move in a few hours there. And this was me today. Now, I was just having a little bit of fun on Twitter. I don't have high conviction for 37K BTC, but I just wanted to get a little bit of sentiment out of the people there on Twitter. I just wanted to see what some of the guys were saying. So I dropped this here, just a thought. Okay, I'm going to take you through this chart in detail now. I'm going to show you my reasoning behind it and why I actually said 37K, but I see Nimrod didn't like that one. He wasn't keen on that 37. And there's some interesting comments here. Luba goes, just stay cool. Okay, so she just gave us this little polar bear here. She's quite chilled. And we got some guy actually asked me if I was on crack. Yes, MJS says he's going to buy more. And Crypto says, thanks for that bearish sentiment. I don't think the guys were that happy with me. And wait, we had another one here. This guy, Torgan, he says, fuck that. I'm going on vacation. See you next week. Hubert says that's an apocalypse coming. And what else? Where's this guy? He says, where's this guy? I'm going to find this guy. He said, am I on crack? Look, anything can happen here. And I've got another guy saying, yeah, look here, Ian at the bottom here, Ray. He says, at least he's not telling you to buy AVAX for the 7th time.
Why don't you just buy TIA?
Why don't we buy TIA, George? Why don't we buy TIA? Okay, so look, let's get into BTC, because now there's a lot of talk that was potentially the bottom of a move. Okay, so there's a lot of valid arguments here at the moment as saying, is this potentially the bottom now on BTC? So Bitcoin Archive, very interesting post. Okay, every cycle gives you one last chance to load up. Okay, he's making correlations between the COVID crash and where we are at the moment. Then I saw Crypto Bullet as well. Very similar looking tweet. He's saying this is reminiscent of the COVID crash, March 2020. Look at his descending, broadening wedge here. You know, these things are starting to line up here. They are starting to make sense that maybe this was potentially one of the final cleanouts here before they do bounce us a little bit higher. And Ali Charts told us the Bitcoin MVRV ratio, okay, hasn't been this low since November 22 after the FTX collapse. Okay, so we've hit lows again after another dramatic sell-off that we had in 2022. And here we are again. So that period marked the bottom and an excellent buying opportunity according to the MVRV ratio. Okay, so if that float your boat, there's a couple of reasons here why that could be in the bottom. And then here's another sign, Mr. 100, the guy that loves to buy shit tons of BTC, and he bought 1,200 Bitcoin worth 60 million today. Okay, here's his buys. You can see there's his wallet, and the guy is aping in. So he obviously felt that that was quite a good opportunity there to potentially buy some BTC. Now, let's look at BTC on the weekly chart and let's just discuss. Okay, let's just look at this rationally. In spite of the bounce we are having right now, and we saw this with Ethereum, and I'm going to talk about Ethereum just now too. But in spite of the bounce we've had, okay, we need to understand we are actually in a very bearish situation here, and we do have quite a big rising trend pushing up on this weekly chart at the moment. And you can see we are in a current downtrend here.
What
that
is
we
this?
watching.
What are you
What's
showing
going on?
us?
What are you
going to
doing?
that trend line?
ETH went to the trend line. ETH went to the trend line. Okay.
But how about the likes? Can we get the likes to 500?
Okay, there's ETH. Okay, we're going to deal with ETH, but there's ETH. Hit the trend line. Why can't Bitcoin hit a trend line? Guys, just, if you're enjoying the content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the bell. In fact, do this.
Treat the like button like Michael Jackson. Just beat it.
You know what to do. You know what to do. Okay, BTC. So let's just get into this. Big level now that we've held. You can see I love fibs. I use fibs for everything. And, they play out more often than not for me. And BTC, what have they done on the weekly here? So BTC has come and it's actually pinged this major 382 fib. So quite interesting to me. We've pinged a 382 fib on BTC. We've pinged 618s on ETH. We've pinged 786s on a lot of these other altcoins as well. So we've all hit corresponding fibs here. So interesting signs here that there was going to be a potential bounce on them. But we do have lower levels here for Bitcoin. So right now, 51,563, we can see this is the 382 fib pool at the moment. But you can see we are in a downtrend. So why is this not possible? Okay, why would this not potentially play out here for us down to a 44K level? Okay, if they are going to come and sweep these lows and take us out. So number one for me, 44,600. I'm watching this level here very closely on BTC. You can see it makes perfect sense here. It's a massive horizontal, massive weekly levels here. We've got a 0.5 and we've got this rising trend. And then a little bit lower down, if we take into account what we've just seen on ETH playing out, okay, we could easily have a situation where they bleed us down to 37,700. Okay, this is a 618. It's a typical 618. We've got some horizontal tie in, and we do have this rising trend. Now, remember, at some point, these trends, they do get pinged. Okay, now it might take years before we ping this trend. So we could also easily have a situation here where BTC just continues its move up and eventually over the course of a couple of years comes back. So we could easily just see that and we start working our way up and things like that. And then we can come back and hit that trend at a later date. Okay, so I just want to say the trend is here. Okay, let's use the trend. Let's acknowledge that it's here. Let's acknowledge that the 618 is there as well, and that there's some massive horizontal levels here. So if things are going to start falling over, we need to wake up and just pay attention to some lower levels here, because every time we ping a new big level lower down, we've always got to be prepared for the next level lower. We just got to plan things that way. So right now, Super Furry Jelly says bear market for 12 months. That's not going to be fun if that is going to play out. So right now for me on the weekly, 44,700, you can see why that's a big level for me. You can see why this makes sense. And then 37,700, we don't want to see that. Obviously, I don't want to see that. These altcoins are going to get absolutely minced if we go to those types of levels. But they are on the charts. And just like I showed you, 2,100 for ETH, we didn't think it was going to happen, but it happened. And never say never in crypto. That is the golden rule. Never say never in crypto. So just to finish here, 44,700, 37,700, they are now on the table. Okay, and right now we're just going to watch this low from earlier today, and that low was 48,900. So right now, this is all you need to worry about in the near term. We want to hold that low, 48,900. If we start losing that, that's when we start prepping for our next levels. That's when we start prepping for our next areas. So don't want to scare the shit out of anybody, because it's almost as if you're scared enough. Okay, we at 26. Let's just understand. And where are my people here in the chat? How's everyone doing? I see Big Texas is talking about 𝗡𝗢𝗅. Nice little bounce on 𝗡𝗢𝗅, guys. So I've got targets coming now for WIF. I've got targets coming for 𝗡𝗢𝗅. I've got targets coming for PopCat, and a couple of these other altcoins that I'm going to show you now. So if you're sitting in longs on them, I'm going to give you these areas where you should be taking care. Okay, maybe you want to be TPing. If you're bearish, maybe you want to be looking for some shorts in some of these regions. So I'm going to show you these areas in a couple of minutes here. And let's see who else is here. Cisco Kid says, beat it or slap it, like Will Smith. Guys, don't forget, hit that like button. If you're enjoying the content, hit the like button. If you're enjoying the bounce, hit the like button. Aaron says hello. And Vibes Vibes Volt says bye. And Sylvester doubled his account. Must have been on that bounce. I'm assuming he's just caught that little crazy bounce there. So let's get into this. I see there's questions on Sol and Dupe coming up. So let's tackle some of them. And just a little note here, the oldies, okay, BlackRock Spot, Bitcoin ETF surpasses 1.5 billion trading volume in the first hour of trading today. Okay, so that's notable. I mean, that's tied in with that with the S&P pump as well. So now let's get into altcoins and just see where we are. We can see BTC dominance on the monthly. I raised this area last night. We are still sitting at major resistance. Okay, major resistance for dominance is good for us if we're trading altcoins, because that tells us there is a good chance that we get a rejection in dominance, and that often just gives you a little bit of breathing room on some of your altcoins, might give you a chance to recover some of those losses on some of those alts, might get some kind of pump there and just push them a little bit higher. So always notable, big dominance resistance here. This is the monthly, and easy opportunity here for potential rejection on dominance, and that just could fire up some altcoins here for you guys. So maybe just give us something to work with. Now, this thing was absolutely brutal yesterday. Ethereum on the 3-day. Okay, now I brought this chart to you guys last night. I did a show on the main channel last night. So those of you that missed it, I was talking about ETH, and I was actually saying we're looking at this 2,100 level. And, I was expecting this to play out over 5 to 6 weeks. I think leading into September, we were looking at something like this. And lo and behold, this thing played out in a couple of hours after we finished that live session there that we did on Sniper Club. So this thing now absolutely collapsed. But I just want to highlight again, look at the 618 fib. Okay, now we've seen ETH hit the 618 fib. Look at that absolute perfection on that 618 fib. You can't make this shit up. And BTC has dumped into a 382. So it's a good start. They're both sitting on corresponding fibs at the moment. But for me, this really feels like an absolute capitulation here on ETH. Now, what is my plan here at the moment? You can see there's a lot of room for ETH to push higher, but we do have major resistance higher up here. 2,860. This is a massive, massive area now that we're going to struggle to get through, I believe, if we do eventually get up to that. Now, when we've seen dumps in the past of this nature and this size, we often get these wicks bought up very quickly. They take out late shorters, and then they often tend to slow down a little bit. Everybody gets a little bit complacent, and then they start grinding these things lower down. So for me, ETH, I'm looking out for potentially some kind of move back to test those lows. 2,100 makes sense to me. And if we take a look at a lot of these dumps that we've had in the past, we've seen them play out multiple times. So big little wick down here. Don't be surprised if ETH wants to come back and retest that 2,100 level. So for me, that's a massive zone. Is it the bottom of ETH? Potentially, yes. Okay, if Bitcoin is close to the bottom here, yes.
Justin, 2 billion in the ETFs right now. Just on Twitter.
2 billion inflow.
Volume, yeah.
Bullish. Okay, so ETH, don't be surprised if they're going to come back and test this 2,100. For me, I'd like to say this is the bottom. Obviously, we can never say never in crypto, but you can see this trend is in play here. 2,100, big horizontals, ETH ETF. Okay, surely these guys are going to start buying ETH now. Surely, after a flush out like this, we can start looking for moves higher up. So Look out for a revisit of this wick. Even if they come and close half of this wick, expect some kind of move back into this wick just to take out a little bit of liquidity there and things like that before they start churning it higher. But as far as ETH goes, massive resistance now, 2867, huge area here. Okay, we don't want to get too euphoric until we start blowing that sort of region. When we start cooking through there, then we're okay. So if you're looking for trades, you're looking for positions, you've got time. Okay, you actually haven't really missed anything. You've missed a bounce pump here. It remains to be seen if this pump is for real, or if it remains to be seen if this is a little dead cat bounce that is going to flip back over. So right now, just be a little bit patient. There is going to be time. Let the market do what it needs to do for the current time being. Now, Solana as well. Solana on the weekly. Now, I've got two Solana charts for you guys, and I just wanted to highlight this one again. Now, I've pulled out the 618 because we've seen ETH hit that 618 so perfectly here. And for me, it's quite interesting that Sol hasn't really come back to test a nice little level like that 618. Let's just see where our 382 is. And you can see we have lost that 382. So there's interesting things happening here for Solana. But for me, if I had to call a bottom for Sol, if somebody said to me, where's the bottom for Sol in the next month or three, what does that move? For me, it's 85. And you can see why the way ETH has responded off that 618, I would expect absolutely the same here from Solana if we do start making our way lower down. So for me, in my opinion, if we do get a pump here, we've got the 100-day MA, 50-day MA, 200-day MA in the way. Look out here. If we get a rejection here on the S&P, if we get a rejection here with BTC and things like that, look out. We've got major resistance ahead here for Solana now, 146 to 154. Big resistance here for Sol. And your support is naturally going to be today's low. That's going to be your low marker that you're immediately going to be watching. So that is our low for today. That's going to be 107 that you're going to keep your eyes on. But ultimately, if these things start melting down, get ready for 85 Sol. Don't be surprised if they come here and send us down to 85. Okay, there could easily be another flush out in the market. Remember, we've got a little short-term bounce here at the moment. We don't know for sure if that was the bottom. We don't know if this is a little squeeze. It remains to be seen. We need to watch carefully now and see how things are going to start playing out. So here is Sol on the short term, and this is Sol on the 12-hour. And this is specifically now for the guys that are trying to trade the current move and things like that. I'm not talking about spot buyers and stuff like that. Guys that are trading this move currently, you need to look out for a couple of key levels now. So number one, we have broken back into the 120 range. So this was a big area for us previously. You can see we've always had buyers when we've dipped into that zone. And nice to see that Sol has reclaimed this area. So that is a great start for us here. If you are sitting in Sol positions now, 120 is your support marker that you want to watch. Any pullbacks here, you want to watch that level, 120. And then we've got massive resistance ahead. And this was huge support for us at one point here. The market couldn't handle it. They just sent us straight through. But don't discount the 200-day MA, 50-day MA, 100-day MA. This is a massive zone here for Solana. So just look out up there. If we pump into that region, tighten up your stops, take some profits, do those types of things, that could be a big rejection zone here for Solana. So look out, 146 to 154. And right now, interim support for you, 120. That is what you're going to be watching. That is the safest play that I can give you currently on Sol. And then notable, a little bit lower down, we do have a little 786 here at 107. Okay, so watch out there. Ferdy says diamond hands will survive the market. Guys, diamond hands always win. Okay, make sure if you, and I've said this before, especially in the bull market, I have spoken to you guys about this one before. Leverage trading cannot be your only crypto strategy. You need to have multiple strategies. One of them is holding spot. The other one could be margin positions, and the other one could be leverage. And then you're going to be doing all sorts of other crypto related things like airdrops and stuff like that. You can find out about that in the Sniper Club if you guys are interested. Make sure that leverage trading isn't your only strategy, because the upside is amazing, but the downside can really hurt you guys. So remember, if you are leverage trading, taking out profits, putting it into spot, diversifying a little bit, and getting involved in different aspects of crypto. Don't make leverage trading your only strategy for some kind of run. You're going to end up coming short there if that is going to be your only game plan. You're going to get moments like this, for example, where they send these candles. I'm going to show you that cash chart. You are not going to believe this cash chart when I pull it out in a second.
Who are you talking to right now?
Everybody.
About this leverage stuff. Oh, okay.
Everybody.
Just want to clarify. Cool.
Behave yourselves. Okay, here we go. Here's Ray. I wasn't talking to you, bro. Come on. Okay, Link. I used Link as an example last night as a head and shoulders playing out in the market. Now, we've been staring at this Link chart for months while this thing has been playing out, and it finally hit our hamster zone. I mean, believe it or not, okay, this just the same way ETH pinged that 2-1. We weren't expecting that that quickly, but Link came and hit the hamster zone at 8.6. Okay, so for me, this was a massive bounce area for Link, and we want to watch this level now. 8.6 is a huge zone here for us. So if we do get some kind of rejection now in the markets, we are looking the same way we're looking at ETH. We are looking just to come and fill that wick again, even halfway down that wick. We're going to look for that type of double bottom play here for a potential bounce. And then upside for me, we've got major resistance. So we need to remain relatively bearish now after that dump on Link, because you can see we've got major resistance ahead of us. So if things do start getting ahead of themselves and things start pumping and things like that, look out up here, 11.7. That is a massive area now for Link, and that could be the start of a move to lower levels. Now, remember, if you look at these candles here on Link on the weekly, you're going to see it's relevant to all of these altcoins. Whenever we've had these dumps, we've had massive dumps, and then we've had consolidation and a push higher and a rejection, okay? Push higher, rejection. Now, remember, if Link is going to push up, look out at 11.7. This could be the moment that it rejects, and then perhaps, okay, if the market gods want it that way, could be sending us a little bit lower down, and that is going to take us to our lowest target there at around about 5 to 5.5. So look out for that. All we're doing is saying what happened last time we had a dump bounce, dump bounce. Here we go, dump bounce. Do we get that rejection? It remains to be seen. But look out, 11.7 on Link. Right now, support for traders. Your support you're watching, 8.6. Watch that candle low there. Look for that double bottom. If we do consolidate and push higher, looking out for that rejection, 11.7, massive area here. And Ivan says, Warren Buffett is laughing now. I mean, you know who else is laughing? The Germans. We were so upset with the Germans. We told them they were selling the bottom. And now they must be laughing at us. They must be laughing so hard right now. And the best traders in history, as it turns out. And, you know, by surprise. They caught us by surprise there. Okay, what else we got? Injective on the weekly. And this was another zone that I highlighted for you yesterday. So on the show, on the yesterday that I did, we were looking at two areas. Number one, we were parking here, and this was looking interesting to us, the 17.8, and we had our next huge zone, and this was a massive weekly area. So we know factually the amount of weekly candles in this area, we know this was always going to be a big bounce zone for us on Injective. So right now, you can see what's going on here. If you are bullish Injective, your support you watching 13.6 anywhere in this region for me weekly. And this is for DCA buyers, this is for spot buyers and things like that. Like I've bought a couple of these altcoins today on these big zones because they're too big to ignore. Okay, there's a separate sort of weaponry for the leverage traders and things like that. But when you get these altcoins hitting massive areas like this is where you start adding to your portfolio and things like that. And yes, they can obviously go lower. But when you hit these types of zones, these are often good areas where you want to be looking. And remember, if you were bullish on Injective up here when it was ranging at 33, well, I suggest you be bullish on Injective down here at 14 as well. So probably a better buy now at 14 than it was back at 33 when we thought actually that thing was never going to come back. And here we are. So hitting a trend again, just like you saw with ETH as well. So back on the trend on Injective. Big support here for you guys to watch, 13.6 to 14. Watch that area closely, expecting a bounce. Now, if we do get a bounce on this Injective, what do we have to be cautious about? Well, you can see what's going on. And this is a typical altcoin scenario that you are going to see on some of the alts that you are trading as well. And if we push up, you are now pushing into major weekly resistance. So make sure if you do push into these types of zones, 17.9, 18, this is for the traders. Look out for that rejection there in that region. That's a TP zone for me, 17.8 to 18, anywhere in that sort of zone. Tennis is no good time to buy XRP. What do you mean? Fundamentally, Allah. What do you mean? Okay, so Injective, 17.8 to 18. That's a big resistance zone. Look out up there. If you're sitting in a trade, for example, and you're pushing into that area, don't get too euphoric, okay? Make sure you are taking profits in those type of areas, and support that you're using, 13.6, somewhere in that region. You can see nice big zone here for us. If we come back and we test that region again, could be a nice little double bottom play there for you guys as well that you can start looking at. So Injective looks good to me at the moment. And then 𝗪𝗡𝗡, another one that I pulled out for you guys, major weekly hit. Okay, so we do have a market now for 𝗪𝗡𝗡, but a couple of things we need to look out for. So you can see we've had a nice bounce on 𝗪𝗡𝗡, big level here for us now that we can watch, and nice little marker. So this level for us here, 16.2, you can see this has been reacted perfectly. Look at that candle. Wow. That is a big push off this level. So for me, we've 16.2. Let's not be surprised if they reject now at a major weekly area. Look at this big weekly resistance zone, and then let's look for that move a little bit lower down here, and let's see if we can get a double bottom out of 𝗪𝗡𝗡 here if we do get a rejection. So right now for me, 𝗪𝗡𝗡 traders, you are pushing into a danger zone here, 21.5, somewhere in this region here. Just if you're scalping this thing and you're sitting in longs, you can see what's going on here. This was major support previously, and it would be pretty strange if we just blew straight through major support without some kind of fight in that area. So just exercise a little bit of caution here. 21.5, that is a resistance zone for me. Support is clear here for you guys. You're looking at the 16 region. So watching that one closely, but a good start. Okay, good start here. Nice little bounce for 𝗪𝗡𝗡. And it's alive. Okay, we survived. I want to get out this cash trade before I do Rune. Where's our cash chart here? I just wanted to pull this up. Okay, look at this thing. I mean, this thing was brutal. Where is Chaos when we need him? Chaos is sitting on the beach. He's on holiday somewhere. Chaos, if you're in the chats, what do you think of this situation here? Cass dumping with the market today. I mean, this thing absolutely got shredded. And if this isn't a sign for up the stairs and down the escalator, I don't know what is. Look at this. Up the stairs. How long did this take us? This took us from the beginning of May to get to the top. And they just sent us straight down the escalator. Bang. Wiped out all that good work that everybody has been doing, and cleaned everyone out. But you can see 786 for a beautiful reaction here for Cass. So I've got two big levels now of support for cash traders. Number one, we've got the absolute lows. Okay, this was 0.124, 0.124. That's your absolute lows here. If we do get some kind of rejection now in the market, which I would expect this to be sold off at some point, I would say look out here for 0.142. Look out for 0.142. You want to see that region hold now if this thing is going to start falling over. So 0.142, big level here for us. That is our 618 as well. That is the best level I can give to you guys right now. After a pump like that, we don't want to start scalping around higher up there. We just want to be a little bit cautious there. So right now, 0.142, you're going to be watching that. And then we've got a major trend in the way. Okay, so this thing could be potentially teeing up for a little bit of a bearish scenario here as well. So if we do get this consolidation, let's assume they come back here, they send this thing higher. Look out for that rejection there. That could be the start of some kind of move lower as well. So guys, just understand where we are at the moment. If you're seeing a bounce like that, exercise a little bit of caution. Doesn't mean we've just turned turbo bull here, and we really need to start reclaiming levels. We need to start reclaiming trends, and there's a lot of work to do here in the market after that type of destruction that we have seen in the last while. Now, before we get into some of these other trades, don't forget, if you've been rinsed out, for example, here's a good opportunity for you guys. You can trade with someone else's money. Okay, you don't have to risk your money. So what you can do here is jump onto Bitfunded. Okay, there's a link in the description here. You send them $49 or $99. They give you a demo account. Okay, they give you a $5,000 or $10,000 demo account. You show them that you can get 8% for session 1. You show them that you can get 5% for session 2, and they hand you their money that you can trade with, and you can keep 80 to 90% of those profits. Okay, so simple game plan here for Bitfunded. $49 or $99 gets you a demo account, make 8%, make 5%, and then they throw their money at you. Okay, and use their money to trade with. Okay, could be a nice way to do it. And there is a link here in the description. So just go to the link under the show. Very simple here. You click on the Bitfunded link, and you can see here, click on Bitfunded, register your account, and then go to Bitfunded Dylan, and that'll activate that challenge for you, that $49 and that $99 challenge. Hit that link there and give that one a go. And we'll be teeing up another Bitfunded trade very soon as well. We just need the market to settle a bit here. And when the next trade comes up, for that, we're going to tee it up. Okay, let's deal with Rune, because this thing also got absolutely smashed in the last couple of days, and now we've lost key levels on Rune. So I don't like the look of this thing at the moment. And what is going on here? We are hanging on by a thread here to the 786, this 3 level. You can see this is major resistance now on the weekly. And again, another time to be cautious, just the way we looked at that link situation as well. And you can see we had a massive head and shoulders here on Rune, and now this thing is potentially playing out in full. Okay, and if this thing is going to play out in full, I've got a target here for you of around about 2. That is going to be your level that you're going to be watching. Somewhere in this 2 region is your level for Rune. Now, how do we get there? Well, number one, you can see we are at resistance now. So there could easily be a rejection here in the market at a big resistance zone like this, and that could trigger this move down to 2 for us potentially. So look out for that. Look out carefully here. But if the market starts reclaiming levels and things start happening here, you could find yourself in a situation where Rune starts climbing above this 3 level. Okay, then you're going to look for some kind of consolidation in this region, and then we're going to play some kind of trend break out of this zone if we are going to turn a little bit more bullish here. But right now for me, there's a red flag.
Short squeeze.
Is it happening now? Are we
it looks
squeezing
like
up?
It's going to go to the next zone, yeah.
What's our next zone here, Ray?
Next rejection at 57,500.
900.
I see 57,500.
Okay, could be a little squeeze coming. Okay, could be a little squeeze coming. So just, guys, the message I'm trying to convey here, okay, is we've had a beautiful recovery bounce here so far in the last couple of hours. If you've woken up, you probably, if you were in positions, you probably got smashed, okay, you got stopped out or whatever. Now you've woken up, you got green candles everywhere, and now you're thinking, oh, do I need to jump in? Do I need to jump in? So that's probably the worst thing you can do right now, okay? The best thing you can do is just kick back, okay? We've had a massive meltdown in the market. Now we've had a massive pump in the market, okay? Now you're thinking short, long, short, long. Just be calm, okay? The market's not going to go away, okay? We're not going to get situations where we get these brutal dumps and pumps all the time. This was let's call it a black swan situation here with what we're dealing with. And the market's not going anywhere. There's going to be time for trades. There's going to be time for all these setups. So don't feel you have to do something right now. You can also let things just play out. You can let things just calm down, give it a few days, let the market do what it needs to do, okay? Let it rinse out everybody up and down, and then come in with a level-headed approach here. Let's keep it rational and strategic. But for me right now, Rune 3 resistance band, be careful here, okay? If we do get some kind of short squeeze in the zone, just like you heard Ray saying, if we do get some kind of short squeeze, we might get that pop here. Then what you're going to do, you're just going to look for support in that region. Let's see, okay, if that area is going to work out for us. And then alternatively, if we get some kind of aggressive short squeeze here, you can see we've got clear resistance at your next level, okay? Your next level is the 50-day moving average, major weekly horizontals as well. So we know 3.9 to 4, most likely you're going to get a short in that type of area there if we do get a pump like that. So you're going to look at something like that. So make sure if you're sitting in these positions and you start pumping into these types of zones, these are the type of areas where you could maybe get some kind of short move there for you to play out as well. So just look out here, just play safe, okay? I just want you guys to be safe, okay? We don't want a situation here where we start jumping in out of pure FOMO. Okay, let's look at some of these quick recoveries. Now, the quick recovery plays that I love, Bonk, Whiff, Peppy, Popcat, all of these things, Brett, even, we know these meme queens, these meme coins, they can absolutely kill you to the downside. But when there's going to be a recovery, these are always bangers to get into. So you can see we've had a decent bounce here on Bonk so far. But what I would suggest now that you need to be watching has got to be this big level that we are reclaiming here at the moment. So bonk traders, you want to see this thing hold, okay? If this thing's going to remain relatively bullish here, look for this little rejection here, look for this pullback. But ideally, you want to see it hold this 1762 level. And I'd keep my eyes on that. I keep my eyes very closely there, 1762. You can see this was previous support for us. Now we've broken back into that area. Let's see if we can hold this 1762. And then your targets are going to be easy little targets here. You've got the 200-day MA. Look out for that rejection. You got the 50-day MA as well. So your targets here, anything from 22.8 to 24.4, something like that. I would expect then some kind of rejection in that zone. If this thing turns aggressive here on us, look out there. 200-day MA is no joke. 50-day MA is no joke. These things should give you a pretty decent rejection. Let's see. General Info Hub says, everyone be careful. Pull your fibs out. Lots of coins rejecting resistance as we speak. 100% correct. Okay, so just be careful here, guys. And remember that we've had a big pump. If you've just woken up, you don't need to do anything just yet. Cosmo the Wonder Dog says, deep state reset. Okay, Peppy, here's another one moving into potential take profit zone. So this is where I want to just highlight for you guys. Now is the time to be cautious. Okay, here's Peppy. We've had a big dump here, and now we are pushing into major resistance. So just this is your TP zone. This is your reaction zone. You want to be watching very closely now. So we've had Peppy. Bang, some nice horizontals here for us, and just a typical reaction here after a dump. But if you are sitting in Peppy now, 79, okay, bang something here. If you scalp these things now in the last few hours, this is moving into your TP zone. Exercise caution here. Let Peppy do its thing. Look for that rejection here on that 200-day MA. Most likely we're going to get that reaction here, and that is going to be a zone. You just want to make sure you're banking some profits here on Peppy. Now, different game plan. When Peppy does break, or when Peppy eventually breaks through this major horizontal, let it break through, let it squeeze through, let it do what it needs to do. When we come back to the zone, we can then play around as bulls. We can say, okay, let's see how this thing reacts now on support. Maybe now we can look for some kind of bullish longs here on Peppy. But right now, resistance zone in play here. Just be super careful here. And you can see as these resistance zones react as support for us, they also react as resistance for us when we are pushing into them. So just be super cautious here. I can't stress that enough. And with similar situation, and I just wanted to highlight this for you guys as well. So if you are sitting in a whiff position, we are now pushing into a big resistance band here for whiff. So your massive support for whiff, guys, 1, that is now looking like a solid zone for me, 1 for whiff. So any pullbacks here, we're looking at 1 to hold. We're looking at some kind of double bottom play here if we do get that move lower down. And right now, just be cautious up here, 1.48, this region here, 1.48 to 1.5, looking for some kind of reaction in that zone. I would say that is your TP zone. Be super safe up here if we do start pushing into that area. And just like you've seen on Peppy, just like you've seen on a lot of these other tokens, if the market wants to push more, okay, and you've taken profit and you've raised your stops and things like that, and the market wants to push more, okay, we can always get that support buy there later. If we are going to turn super bullish, let it reclaim these levels. No need to start aping into longs in situations like this when we are pushing into major resistance zones. Okay, there'll be lots of time for trade setups and all these types of things. So don't panic here. 1 is your support. 1.46 to 1.5 is your resistance. Let it be. Let's see how that plays out. And then another one for you guys, the big mover. Look at this Popcat. And again, meme coins for the win when the recovery is on. Okay, 70% bounce on Popcat. Okay, I gave you these levels yesterday to work with. 70% recovery bounce. Now, you don't get that on ADA, do you, Ray? You don't get that on XRP, do you? And, you get that on these meme coins. So another lesson here, when the market is dumping, fire up the meme coins. Get out your meme coin levels. Look for those areas. Those are the ones you want to be hunting. And for me, Popcat, big level. And I see Milo's talking about Ondo. We must look at this Ondo. Let's take a look here. I see US Throat says, I almost panic sold. Stay strong, guys. Never panic sell on major support, okay? It's as scary as it is. Just try not to. Try not to panic sell on major support. Okay, so Popcat, nice big move. But again, we've got, this is a vicious bounce here, okay? Now, remember, as quickly as this thing is going up, this thing can reject just as quickly. So I just want to give you guys some areas of interest here. If you're sitting in Popcat at the moment, what you need to do is you just want to take your fibs from the high to the low, and you want to understand where can this thing potentially reject now. And, if you want to have a crack at a short here, there is an area of interest here. So let this thing do what it needs to do. And 5423 is an area of interest for me. So this is a combination here of the 100-day MA and the 50-day MA and the 382 fib. So we're looking for something along these lines here for Popcat. So just let it play out now. If you haven't jumped onto this thing, 54 is going to be a big TP zone here. 54 is going to be the zone where you really want to make sure you are taking things off the table. And then you've got a potential short brewing here at 5423. So at some point, this bounce turns over. At some point, the buyers get tired and they realize, okay, maybe, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here. Maybe it's time just to send this thing back. So watching here for Popcat 5423, And then big support here. You can see we've reclaimed this nice horizontal. So you might get a second bite. If we do push lower here again, 0.32, that is a big area for me. That is where we could potentially get our second bite. If this thing starts rolling over here, 0.32 is where it is for me on PopCat. So had a little scalp on this thing earlier today. I'm now out of this thing. I'm going to wait for a little bit lower here, or we're going to wait for this little short opportunity here at 542. Okay, so keep your eyes on that guy, and let's see how we're going here. One more. Stacks. Okay, here's a good one. Stacks. So this one has been also relatively abused here, but Stacks traders, all is not lost. Okay, we're on a nice little zone here, 1.15, and a great little DCA area. If you looking to add to your bags and things like that, and you were loving Stacks up here at the 200-day, you were loving it up there at 2.8. Well, here we are. Here's your opportunity. 1.15 for Stacks. Great little zone here for us. If things do turn a little bit more bearish, then we're looking at the 75 level here on Stacks. But all is not lost. It looks like the bulk of this move is nearly done. And if we are going to go lower, it's 75 for me. But one of these for me has got to be the bottom of this move here. One of these has got to be the end zone, okay, for all the drama. So 1.15, like this for Stacks. Great add to your bag zone. A little bit lower, 0.75, looking decent. And remember, any pumpage here, 50-day MA is in your way, 100-day MA is in your way. This works, and it's applicable with all of your altcoins, okay? So you just pull out the 50-day, the 100-day, the 200. You can use these as potential reaction zones, use these as potential targets for some of these altcoins when they do start bouncing like that. Where's everyone else? I mean, what's happening here? I see Revan is asking about Rune here. Nathan says, do I dare to ask about ADA or XRP? Nathan, I did update an XRP chart in the Sniper Club. Guys, the Sniper Club, I do update charts. XRP is one of them. I actually updated it today. So jump into Sniper Club if you want some XRP action. I see it also had a fair recovery. Let's be fair to XRP. It did bounce a little bit, and it was okay. It was okay. Now, and guys, remember the rule now. Drop your comments in the chat now after the show. Whatever tokens you want to see. Now, today was slightly different because there was chaos everywhere. But drop your tokens in the comments here after the show for me. Me and Ray will look at it after the show. Then tomorrow, I'll make sure I have 2 of your tokens ready, and we can chart them for you tomorrow. So just drop it there in the chats for me, and you just say whatever you want. Actually, you know what? The rudest comment where you say, yo, chart this thing for me, the rudest one, I'm going to chart tomorrow. So give me 2 of your favorites, and let's see what you guys can come up with. Ray, that is it. There he is. He's still in his bull goggles on. He's still cooking. Guys, rough day out there. Okay, just survive. Okay, just make sure you can keep your shit together, because as things go to normal, things return back to normal. Okay, this was a black swan event. This stuff was absolutely wild. I got carried out on a stretcher with you, and we're going to trade this together. We're going to win together. We're going to lose together. So just hang in there. And if you want more action there, Sniper Club, you know where to find us. And we've got a great community brewing for you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Let's see how this market plays out.